Hello, world! Bert here with some exciting news that, probably 95% of you are very much aware of already. But the long awaited Pokemon Go app has finally been released by Nintendo for Android and iOS devices. Now, I reside in the US of A, so Pokemon Go didn't become available for me until 9 p.m. on the 5th of July. I think, if I remember somewhat correctly. But when it came out, I downloaded it at 12 a.m. on the 6th of July and immediately caught some new Pokemon and was promptly unable to sleep the rest of the night because I was way too excited. Earlier that day, I started exploring as much as my Wi-Fi range would allow me, and I was not disappointed in the app's capabilities for a game that was just released and still in its baby stages of development. Like any other person, I started wandering around the internet to see if there was anything that could help me out to make my Pokemon journey a bit more understandable, and was a little disappointed to find that many people are still very unsure about the game mechanics. Made with the intention to inform and advise, this walkthrough is not a Let's Play, just to clear some things up. This is just to help you understand the game mechanics a bit better to maximize your overall enjoyment of the game itself. Catching Pokemon. So this first part will talk to you about some popular mistakes that people make when they're catching Pokemon for the first time. First, I'd like to credit a promotional video that Nintendo came out with a while back. The link's in the description and in the annotation to your right. And second, these are some tricks I picked up while playing the game that I'd like to share with you. Okay, let's get started. Now when you place your finger on the Pokeball, do you see that shrinking circle on the Pokemon? That serves a very important purpose. The smaller the circle when you throw the Pokeball, the better your chances of catching that Pokemon become. Now it doesn't really matter when you're facing low CP Pokemon in their first evolutions, and you can tell this by the color of their shrinking circle. Green is the easiest, followed by yellow-orange, and red being the most difficult to catch. Red is typically reserved for evolved Pokemon, rare Pokemon, and high CP Pokemon. The shrinking circle will be your best friend in these later stages. If the circle's green, you're pretty much guaranteed a catch as long as the Pokemon doesn't run away. If the circle is orange or above, you'll want to be more careful. Be warned that with stronger Pokemon, you should be prepared to lose more Pokeballs because they're prone to breaking out of their Pokeball in your attempts to catch them. Try to say that 5 times fast. In order to increase your chances of catching the Pokemon, you can use raspberries, which can be found at Pokestops after you've hit level 8. We can talk more about Pokestops later. Alright, now let's put what we've learned here into effect. Note the color of the circle, which is, an orange-yellow, so it's about of a medium difficulty. Note the position of the Pokemon, its distance from you, and if it's flying or not, because I've noticed that flying Pokemon can tend to be a little bit more difficult to catch if you're still learning the throwing mechanics. And I don't mean just flying-type Pokemon, I mean those that are actually flying in their animation. Like Pidgey doesn't fly, but Zubat does. All of these play really important roles in the capture of a Pokemon. The further away the Pokemon is, the more power you have to put behind your toss. The closer it is, just be gentle with the flick. And remember, always throw straight. Save those curveballs for later, especially since they give you a bonus 10 XP as soon as you've basically learned how to nail them. Because it's just way too easy to lose Pokeballs to wayward throws. So don't get frustrated if you miss, or if the Pokemon manages to avoid the ball by jumping up or knocking it away, or even attacking you. Yeah, they do that too. Just get right back up and back in the game. And remember that you can always get more Pokeballs from Pokestops later if you start running low. Finding Pokemon. For finding Pokemon, take a look at the bottom right of your screen. Likely you've noticed this already and are trying to figure out the distance the footprints represent. Each footprint stands for approximately 50 meters, which is approximately 160 feet for my fellow Americans. Or, to put it into perspective, oh hey look, an Execute. It would be around the length of an American football field. If there are no footprints, then you're within the 50-meter distance and have a much higher chance of finding a Pokemon. In order to locate a specific Pokemon, click the foot box, or that's just what I like to call it, and it'll open to show you all the Pokemon around you in an 150-meter range. Tap the image of the Pokemon you wish to find, and that Pokemon will be displayed when you close the pop-up. The box will emit a flash around the edges, which will tell you if you're headed in the correct direction to find said Pokemon. Now, the leaves that you may see floating around tell you that there is actually a greater chance of finding a Pokemon in that area. However, it does not guarantee that a Pokemon will pop out, unfortunately. Now, I'm still rather new to gym battles, so why don't we just learn together? But as a lot of you have probably noticed already, you have to be at least trainer level 5 in order to challenge a gym. Go away, Paris. I don't need you in my face right now. Well, anyway, ignoring the Paris on the gym. As you can see, I'm level 7 right now and have joined a team myself. However, I haven't felt confident enough to actually attack a gym yet. But today's the day. So, let's just get started. So D-Rock appears to be the gym leader along with his Dodrio. I think I can beat him easily. I mean, my Raticate's pretty powerful, so let's do this. No! Oh, why? Okay. Well, miserable defeat for my very first battle. But let's just try again. Yes. Well, I got a little further this time. As you can see, I didn't use my Pokemon special attack at all, which can actually be used when the power meter is completely full by pressing and holding onto the screen. So next time, I'll be a little smarter about my battling strategy. It'll probably just come back when my Pokemon are stronger. But as you can see, I actually gained experience by battling the gym of my same color, basically. And that's what training is, literally. So fighting an opposing gym, I actually haven't had the opportunity to do that yet. Because, unfortunately, the nearest rival gym is too far away and way out of my Wi-Fi range. This entire area is basically dominated by Team Mystic. Now, silver gyms are completely uninhabited, so if you spot one, make sure to go claim it for your team. When you fight rival gyms and take on the gym leader, you're actually allowed to take up to 6 Pokemon to fight with you. And when you beat the gym leader, you claim the gym for your team. Now, this little bit of information I actually did find online. Because, obviously, as I just told you, I haven't actually faced a rival gym yet. Yeah. Pokestops. A non-paying player's best friend. So Pokestops, they're home to Pokeballs, eggs, and many other goodies that will aid you on your quest to catch them all. You'll get about 3 Pokeballs each time you use one. Really depends on what other things it might hand out to you. Like eggs, which are technically a little bit more rare, but they're not entirely uncommon. At level 5, you can get incenses, potions, and revives that will aid you in gym battles and catching wild Pokemon, obviously. But at level 8, you also have a chance to find raspberries that help increase your chances of catching rare and hard-to-catch Pokemon. So right above the disc is a white oval. In that, you can place modules that can attract wild Pokemon to the Pokestop. Be aware that these cost real-world money and can be bought in the Pokeshop. So one of my friends actually had a very difficult time figuring out how to work the Pokestop itself. And after my first day of trial and error, I figured out that spinning the center disc will give you the items at that Pokestop. Pro tip, collecting all your prizes can be a bit time-consuming, especially if you're on the move and have a limited amount of time to collect from the Pokestop. So as soon as your prizes appear, hit the X button at the bottom of the screen and it will automatically collect your prizes. Handy, right? And so after you collect from the Pokestop, it will change color. This doesn't mean that you can no longer use that Pokestop. It just means that the Pokestop is refreshing. And that'll take about 5 minutes. So you can go back after 5 minutes are up and continue collecting from the Pokestop. Okay, so excusing that really bad title pun. Tip number 1. With the intense battery drain of the Pokemon Go app, make sure you have a battery pack if you're planning on using the app all day. Tip 2. Want to evolve your Pokemon but don't have enough candies? Catch more Pokemon of the same species and transfer them to Professor Willow. On top of the candies you'll get from catching the Pokemon, the Professor will also send you a candy for that same Pokemon in return. Tip 3. The Pokemon Go app uses about 10 megabytes of data per hour, so make sure to use Wi-Fi whenever possible. And hotspot people, share the love. But don't share too much love or you'll run out of data. Tip 4. Don't waste your incenses just yet. They're difficult to get, typically through milestones like, leveling up. Once you hit level 5, you have a chance, mind you, a chance of finding them at Pokestops. So be very conservative with them because they're your best bet for getting lots of Pokemon, and rare ones at that. So save them for a special occasion. The first time I used an incense, I was just immediately jumped by 2 wild Pokemon. I think it was an Eevee and a Spearow. Tip 5. CP, or combat power, can be increased with the Pokemon-specific candies plus Stardust. Evolution is caused by a different option, and it also grants your Pokemon a permanent power boost. Also, note that the amount of Stardust needed to power up your Pokemon will vary Pokemon to Pokemon, even within the same species. The higher the first evolution CP is, the more Stardust will be needed to power it up. And that's reversed for lower CP of the first evolution Pokemon. I'll leave these pictures up for a little while, or you can pause the video to take a look. My friends and I are not entirely sure what combination will be best. When a Pokemon has lower starting CP, it takes much less Stardust to power it up in comparison to another Pokemon of the same species that has higher CP. And the amount of Stardust actually stays the same throughout its evolutions, as you can see by my Pidgeotto to Pidgeot packs. Though you would spend less candy to power up a high CP Pokemon, more Stardust would be spent. So what do you think? Just mess around with some combinations and tell me what you think is best in the comments. Tip 6. While hatching eggs, you may be tempted to just hop in a vehicle and use the distance you travel as a way around the system. Let me tell you, honey, you're just going to waste gas. I'm not entirely sure how the mechanics work, but I do know that the app can tell how fast you're going and will not count any speeds over a specific speed towards your distance walked. So don't be lazy. Save the car rides for getting to the next gym battle instead. Also, make sure you keep the app open when you're hatching eggs. That's how the app tracks your steps. Yeah, it'll drain your battery something fierce, but that's currently the only way, as far as I'm aware of, to hatch your eggs. Tip 7. Trying to catch Pokemon in a moving vehicle? I wish you the best of luck. After lots of experimentation, my friends and I have discovered that catching a Pokemon whilst traveling over 45 miles per hour, or 72 kilometers per hour, is virtually impossible, and has only successfully been done once. Even the easy-to-catch Pokemon escaped from their Pokeballs and ran away. My friend was very upset when that Ekans escaped. So no interstate driving if you're trying to catch Pokemon. Instead, you'll have an easier time catching Pokemon while driving around in the suburbs at around 25 to 35 miles per hour, or 40 to 56 kilometers per hour. But you should note the developers have announced that the app is supposed to actually close after 20 miles per hour. Whether or not they'll fix this glitch is to be determined. Hopefully they're not watching our video. Tip 8. This isn't as much of a tip and more of an advisory message. Like the opening screen for the app says, always be aware of your surroundings. You don't need to constantly look down at your phone in order to find the Pokemon. Quick glances every now and then will keep you on the right track. But remember that your phone will buzz when a Pokemon comes into your vicinity. Do not stop in the middle of streets. Come on, everyone. Have some common sense here. Didn't your parents teach you to always look both ways before crossing the street? Well, apparently not these people. If you're driving, don't touch your phone. Let the person in the passenger seat or anyone behind you Handle your phone if you're trying to catch Pokemon while in motion. Please exercise caution when attempting to catch your Eevees and Pikachus. They are not worth your life. Thank you for watching our video. If you enjoyed it and got some new information out of it, leave a like, comment, and maybe even hit the subscribe button if you want more content like this. My friends and I are not YouTubers predominantly. We run a website for fangirls, fanboys that's been actually getting a decent amount of traffic lately. We don't just talk about games, we talk about a wide variety of fandoms as well. The link is in the description if you want to check it out. Once again, thank you for watching. Ciao for now, Burke out.